finish line.
Forget it, man. You just hang your head.
We're stressed for time.
At the end, you couldn't even keep up with me.
And it went from a race to prove they could do something on this old vintage bike to becoming a race for survival.
We were leaving first thing in the morning for Vegas. Curveballs are getting sent our way and tightening things and remedying things, and we were doing our very best.
Fucking already taking the nap, dude? What's going on, brother?
We had to find this balance of trying to please everyone, right? I had to please you, Dustin. And like I said, please ourselves with the bike and the performance, because we have to go race this thing. This whole thing's not gonna work if we can't ride the bike 500 miles. Around, I believe, 6 p.m., real good light. The boys are out there in a spot to film us as we test the bike.
Changed up the gearing, 1542, so it should go really fucking fast. The boys are all geared up, ready to go.
I definitely picked it up a few gears.
Sure enough, at 6 p.m. something nearly catastrophic happens.
Ends up being the flywheel that took that off, and there was some damage to it. A nut had backed out.
The bike was fucked, so I started making some frantic calls.
Luckily, Forrest knows Tom, who lives up in Hesperia.
Called my friend Tom, who owns TMC Vintage Motorcycle Rentals. It's about an hour away from the compound. He had every tool we could ever imagine, plus.
The day before we were supposed to leave to Vegas, you know, we're in a bit of defeat.
Luckily, Nick knew someone in Hesperia as well that had the perfect key we needed to fix that flywheel.
Eric Cook, who deals with these bikes, and I know he knew every little speck of it, and sure enough, I call him up and he literally knew every single speck of the stuff that broke and what we needed.
Tom and Eric, both these badass, knowledgeable vintage dudes, came together and helped us fix up the threads and get a new key and that flywheel put back on, and got the bike started up, and we were ready to rock and roll.
Long and behold, 3 phone calls later, we have 3 different sources to the parts that we need for the bike. It actually came together pretty beautifully, if you ask me. It really showed like the motocross community. We're just calling these people late night on a Wednesday and be like, yo, we got all these problems, and then there's so many people willing to help us. We got back to Johnson Valley that night at around midnight, did a few things we needed to do. We were up at 6 a.m. ready to go testing the bike, and that's exactly what we did.
I almost like getting in those tight spots, like how the hell are we gonna fix this? Like, this is broken, what's the next move? Like, we can't make this happen here come the cops, this guy's injured, how do we fix this? And all those precarious, like stressful, tight moments that happen right away or are inevitable on our type of shoots, like, they just are fun for me too. Like, I love getting the shot, but I also like fixing the situation.
An hour and a half on the bike that Thursday morning before we were supposed to go to Vegas.
We do some last minute shakedowns. Bike's amazing. The crew gets the shots they hadn't gotten the next day.
It sounded good to us. It sounded good to A-Rod. It sounded good to me. We were the 2 guys that swung our legs over that bike that morning. Everything checked off, so, you know, we loaded it up, did what we had to do, and we were off to Las Vegas.
As good as it could be. So we head to Vegas, we get to registration, we have an hour to spare. And sure enough, as we show up, we get kicked out by the cops. COVID, apparently there's too many people, no one's wearing their masks. Off-roaders are being as they will, and you know, they tend to lean hard right.
And I brought a tent and a sleeping pad thinking we were gonna rough it the whole time.
So we got to Vegas and we had planned on camping at, you know, just where the starting gate was. I mean, we all planned on camping, right?
Where we at, guys?
Couldn't camp because of COVID and they called it off at the last second. A few of the guys booked a hotel and, you know, a crew should stay together. We needed to have a meeting the night before the race and have dinner together and stuff, and somehow wound up in the Trump Hotel, which I don't care if you lean right or left, but let's just say for me to stay at the Trump Hotel is kind of ironic.
We're at the fucking Trump Towers, bro. It was funny that it was the cheapest place to stay.
What a fucking boring ass hotel.
Where's the tables?
There's no fucking tables here.
That night we had a meeting.
The night before, I'm sitting there and Forrest comes in and kind of explains what's going on.
It's really hard to like visualize it all when you're...
I had no clue.
We're down here in Vegas. We're basically just heading north.
Like, I'd been to the Baja 1000 before, but I've never chased for anybody.
Both the chase crews and the media teams are gonna be like, leapfrogging from pits.
I'm just looking at the rest of the media crew and I'm like, does anybody have any idea what we're doing?
I think we have 4 walkies, right, Monty?
We got Quattro walkies.
I have 10 walkies as well.
Oh, tight.
I've been to a ton of different kinds of races, but I've never done chasing before, where there's pit stops and you like go to different markers and all that stuff.
And Dustin's just like, yeah, no problem. And I'm like, why are all these guys acting like they know what they're doing? Because I know nobody here knows what they're doing media crew-wise.
I had no idea what to expect. And the night before the race, we got to get up at 2:30. We have this like kind of team meeting.
Gas is acting like he's got it under control. I know he doesn't know what he's doing.
Me and Monty are supposed to be on to pit 2 right away.
So that's the good news on the leapfrog is we have a little more time.
Or you get the shot to where you want and then you run back to the pit.
Willie's like, yeah. And I'm like, dude, with a haircut like that, this guy does not know what he's talking about.
You know, chase cars, adjust bike, and swap riders, blah, blah.
You'll figure it out as you go.
2:45 in the morning in Vegas. And we're just leaving for work.
We don't know. We're racing to Reno. We didn't care. We were going for it. We unloaded the bike, started it up. Everything seemed great.
The next day, honestly, dude, chase crew, media crew, racing pit to pit, trying to catch the guys. It was almost like we were in a race of our own. It was...
Like, you have to get on board, like you have no choice, like you will get left behind. So everyone's on board, everyone signed up for it, they knew what they were gonna get into.
I got on the bike, I was gonna start and do the first 160.
Went down to the start line, Forrest got geared up, we got the tracking unit on, bike was ready to go, bike looked primo.
To me, the whole thing was a blur. It happened super fast.
I got to the start line. It was about 85 degrees. Bike was running crispy. I was sweating, probably because I was more nervous than anything. I just wanted the bike to finish. I knew we had crossed our T's, dotted our I's, it was running good. The crew was in place. Everything was dialed. I get on the bike, I shift first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Fourth gear, I look down, I'm doing about over 90 miles an hour, where most other bikes are topping out high speed and we still had a gear to go.
And man, it all unfolded pretty quickly. Early morning, 6 a.m., Forrest had literally just started the race.
Sure enough, I hit fifth and I just lost power. Fuck!
Me and Ciaran are head down the highway. We get a text message from Forrest, and Ciaran and I look at it at the same time, and it says, in such disbelief, no. There was like probably 1 minute of feeling sorry for ourselves.
A one-of-a-kind race, a one-of-a-kind day with one-of-a-kind effort.
It's over, we're done.
Like, this is a fucking joke.